Daniel and Lisa Henshaw, a young couple yearning for tranquility, stumbled upon Ashwood House whilst on a leisurely drive through the English countryside. Nestled just outside the bustling city of Nottingham, the house stood with an air of faded grandeur. Its Victorian architecture, adorned with intricate carvings and sprawling verandas, whispered tales of a bygone era. Captivated by its charm, the Henshaws saw it as their dream home. They dismissed the overgrown ivy and the air of melancholy that clung to the property as mere signs of neglect. It was perfect. The previous owners, eager to rid themselves of the property, agreed to a surprisingly low price. The Henshaws, their heads filled with visions of afternoon tea on the veranda and cosy evenings by the fireplace, overlooked the hurried exchange. Blinded by their excitement, they moved into Ashwood House on a day bathed in the golden hues of early summer. Unbeknownst to them, they had just stepped into a realm where shadows danced and whispers taunted. They were oblivious to the darkness that awaited within the very walls that promised solace. Ashwood House, with its beguiling facade, had opened its doors to new prey. The first few days in Ashwood House were idyllic. Yet, as the honeymoon phase of their new abode faded, a sense of unease began to creep into the Henshaws' lives. It began subtly, like a draught of cold air in a locked room. Whispers, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the shadows, their sources always just out of sight. Lisa would pause, her hand hovering over a half-written postcard, as a disembodied murmur brushed past her ear. Daniel, engrossed in his work, would look up with a start, convinced someone had called his name. The knocking started soon after. It was a rhythmic tapping, seeming to originate from within the walls themselves. At first it would occur at random intervals, a staccato beat in the silence of the old house. Daniel, ever the pragmatist, attributed it to loose pipes or squirrels in the attic. Lisa, however, felt a shiver crawl down her spine each time the sound reverberated through the stillness. Her intuition whispered that something was amiss, something more than just the settling of an old house. As days transitioned into weeks, the occurrences at Ashwood House grew increasingly bolder. Objects began to move inexplicably. A vase, perched precariously on the edge of a shelf, would inexplicably topple over in the dead of night, shattering into 1,000 pieces on the hardwood floor. Books would fly off shelves, their pages rustling frantically as if caught in a sudden gust of wind, even though the windows remained tightly shut. Daniel and Lisa would find furniture rearranged in the mornings, chairs askew as if occupied moments before their arrival. One evening, as Lisa was preparing dinner, she felt an icy breath on her neck. Turning swiftly, she found nothing but the empty air behind her. But as she turned back to the stove, she noticed with a gasp a message scrawled across the surface of the old silver-backed mirror that hung in the dining room. Written in what appeared to be blood-red paint were the words, "Leave this place." Terror, cold and sharp, pierced through Lisa's heart. The house, once a symbol of their dreams, had transformed into a menacing entity, its intentions clearly hostile. The Henshaws, their initial amusement replaced with raw fear, could no longer deny the sinister reality of Ashwood House. Sleep became a distant memory, haunted by nightmares and the constant dread of what they might encounter next. Their once peaceful home had morphed into a prison of their own fears. Each creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves against the window panes sent their hearts racing. The shadows seemed to deepen, stretching out like grasping claws, and the whispers morphed into guttural growls that echoed through the empty halls. Lisa, her nerves frayed, began to see fleeting figures lurking in the periphery of her vision. A tall, gaunt shadow, its edges indistinct, seemed to watch her from the top of the stairs. Daniel, though trying to remain sceptical, found his own resolve crumbling. He, too, felt the oppressive weight of unseen eyes upon him, the feeling intensifying in the dead of night when the darkness felt most profound. They were trapped, ensnared in a web of supernatural terror that tightened its grip with each passing moment. Section 5, Dr. Carter's investigation. Desperate for an explanation for any semblance of normalcy, they contacted Dr. Evelyn Carter. Renowned in her field, Dr. Carter was a parapsychologist who had dedicated her life to studying the unexplained phenomena that plagued places like Ashwood House. Accompanied by her team of researchers, she arrived with an arsenal of equipment, EMF readers, thermal cameras, and audio recorders, ready to document and decipher the strange occurrences that had tormented the Henshaws. The team's instruments came alive within moments of stepping into Ashwood House. EMF readers spiked off the charts, indicating powerful energy surges. Thermal cameras picked up cold spots in the house's warmest corners, and the audio recorders captured EVPs, ghostly voices whispering on frequencies inaudible to the human ear. The evidence was irrefutable. Ashwood House was indeed haunted by a malevolent entity. Dr. Carter, her face grim, confirmed their worst fears. The entity, she explained, was powerful and deeply rooted in the house's history. As the investigation progressed, the entity's hold on Ashwood House, and in particular Lisa, grew stronger. Lisa's once vibrant personality dimmed, replaced by a chilling detachment. Her eyes, once sparkling with life, turned vacant and distant, as if an unseen force had taken control from within. She would wander the halls at night, whispering to unseen companions, her voice a hollow echo of its former self. Daniel, watching his beloved Lisa succumb to the entity's grasp, was beside himself with worry and fear. He pleaded with her, desperately trying to reach the woman he loved, but his words seemed to vanish into the air unacknowledged. Lisa was no longer Lisa. She had become a vessel for something sinister, her body a puppet in the hands of a malevolent force. Her laughter, once a source of joy, now sent shivers down Daniel's spine, for it was no longer the sound of a carefree spirit. It was a chilling, hollow sound, devoid of any warmth or humanity. Dr. Carter, realizing that they were dealing with something beyond the realm of scientific understanding, advised Daniel to seek help elsewhere. "This is no longer a case for science, Daniel," she confessed, her voice heavy with concern. "You need a different kind of intervention. You need an exorcist." Hope, flickering like a candle in the wind, ignited within Daniel. He would fight for Lisa, for their love, even if it meant confronting the darkest forces imaginable. He reached out to Father Thomas, a renowned exorcist known for his unwavering faith and his ability to confront the demonic. Father Thomas, sensing the urgency in Daniel's voice and the depth of his love for Lisa, agreed to come immediately. His arrival at Ashwood House was like a ray of light piercing through the oppressive darkness that had settled upon the house. With him, he brought an arsenal of faith-holy water, blessed salt, and a silver crucifix that had been passed down through generations of exorcists in his family. The battle for Lisa's soul was about to begin. The exorcism was a harrowing spectacle. The air within Ashwood House crackled with a palpable tension as Father Thomas, his voice a booming command against the shadows, began the ancient rites. Lisa, her body contorting in unnatural ways, fought against his efforts with a ferocity that made her seem possessed of superhuman strength. Her screams echoing through the old house were the sounds of a soul in torment. The entity, threatened with being wrenched from its hold over Lisa, raged against the holy rituals. Furniture rattled, windows shattered, and the temperature plummeted as an icy wind whipped through the house, extinguishing candles and sending shadows dancing with renewed frenzy. Daniel, his heart pounding in his chest, refused to leave Lisa's side. His love for her, his unwavering belief in their bond, fueled his determination to see her free from the entity's grasp. The battle raged on, a relentless struggle between light and darkness, faith and fear, for the possession of Lisa's soul. Finally, after hours that felt like an eternity, a piercing shriek shattered the oppressive atmosphere. The entity, its grip on Lisa broken, was drawn out of her body and vanished into the shadows from whence it came. Lisa collapsed, her body drained and exhausted, but her eyes, once again her own, were filled with relief and gratitude. Ashwood House, its malevolent resident vanquished, fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by an eerie calm. The Henshaws, forever marked by their encounter with the darkness that resided within Ashwood House, knew they could never remain within its walls again. Leaving behind all their possessions, they fled the house that had been both their dream and their nightmare. As they drove away, the sun rising in the distance, casting long shadows across the dew-covered lawns, they couldn't shake the feeling that Ashwood House was not truly empty. Something lingered within its walls, watching, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to fall prey to its seductive charm. The curse of Ashwood House, it seemed, was far from over.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget and don't have nightmares.